This weekend, Jonny Lee Miller, star of CBS's Elementary, will be running 50 miles in what is called an ultra marathon.
Yes, as impressive as that is, he is also doing it for a good cause to help bring awareness to a rare disease that afflicts children. It's called Sanfilippo Syndrome. And here to tell us about it is the one and only Jonny Lee Miller. Jonny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into this ultra marathon that you're going to be running this weekend, let's talk a little bit about Sanfilippo.
Yeah.
And in particular, the Jonah's Just Begun Foundation. You work very, very closely with this group of people. They're close to my heart as well. Talk about Sanfilippo Syndrome. It is very, very hard to diagnose when these children are young, right?
Yeah, it often goes misdiagnosed. It's such a rare condition. It's about 1 in 70,000 births. So pediatricians often haven't seen it. Children often go misdiagnosed because there are no symptoms initially. They usually occur at kindergarten age. Delays, mild deformities, prone to sinus infections, diarrhea, and behavioral problems as well. So it's often associated with perhaps autism or ADHD.
And specific testing has to be done in order to diagnose this, correct?
Absolutely. And pediatricians, obviously, not having seen it a lot, you know, it's the specific testing which needs to be done. So it's very important to find families and to find children who are suffering so that we can study more. And we need people in order to bring drugs to clinical trial.
Well, you are a huge advocate for them. I know you've been to Washington, D.C. to talk to Congress about it, and now you are running yet another ultra marathon for this foundation. So let's talk about this. 50 miles. It's happening this weekend, right?
Yeah, this Saturday.
How do you train for that?
First of all, I point out I like running.
That's important.
This was what, you know, married into being able to help. I'm just doing my small thing that I feel I can contribute. It's kind of a weirdly enjoyable. It's a mental exercise. You'd be surprised at the kinds of people that can achieve this. Everybody can, to be honest with you.
Right.
The great secret is if you do the training, you get up at 5 in the morning when it's dark and snowing, you're winning. And what, you know, it's nothing compared to the families of Sanfilippo children. They're nothing compared to the challenge that they face.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Sherlock, if we can, and Elementary, and the success of the show. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Another season, and I know that you guys are busy taping your last episodes for this particular season.
Yes.
What I've noticed, Vlad, is that Sherlock suddenly seems to have a heart. At least it's thawing a bit anyway. Am I off base?
No, he does. I guess he's part of his recovery and his relationship with Watson, and he's sort of learning how to interact with people better. I mean, I always saw him as kind of a misunderstood people person. I think the Sherlock Holmes from the books is much more of a he likes people more than people imagine.
Yeah, he's been in the books. He's much more like your character as opposed to the Basil Rathbone, the character that I think a lot of people.
He's less aloof. I didn't find him quite so aloof in the book, so I wanted to bring that in. He just has a bit of trouble with the way he negotiates that, and it goes to, you know, it speaks to his, you know, drug addiction and recovery and all that. So he's learning and making progress in that way, but there may be some bumps in the road ahead.
And there's a family history with acting.
Yes, because I'm a huge James Bond fan, and your grandfather was Bernard Lee, who played M from the very first James Bond, Dr. No, through almost into the late 70s. 11 films.
Yeah.
Did you know him well at all? I know he probably died when you were.
Yeah, I was about 8 years old, I think, when he passed away. But I did know him very well.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful man. He's a hero of mine. I mean, he made over 100 films, and I'm still finding movies of his that I haven't seen.
Wow. After Pierce Brosnan, you were considered for the James Bond role that ultimately went to Daniel Craig.
Well, no, I mean, if I'd have been considered, I'd be playing James Bond right now.
Of course you would.
You had Sherlock in the future.
Right, Sherlock and James Bond, they're two quintessential British characters.
I'm going for all of the British heroes. I'm looking to play Robin Hood as well at some point.
That's awesome.
And Winston Churchill.
Oh, of course. You can put on some weight, but...
Well, I know that your Instagram is always really interesting. You know, all your little recipes.
I'm an avid cook, yes. You know, I used to try and stay away from posting food pictures and stuff, but it's once in a while you're like, oh, that looks good.
This is so awesome.
I started a hashtag empty plates where I would cook something delicious, eat it, and then photograph the empty plate and describe in detail what it was. That took off for a minute.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I think we need to start making that trend.
That's
Let's do
right.
the empty plate trend. Jonny Lee Miller, it's fabulous. I want to remind our viewers that they can watch Elementary on Thursdays, 10 o'clock Eastern. Also, please donate to Johnny's CrowdRise page.
Yeah, you can look me up on, you can look all that stuff up on my Twitter.
Let's raise some money for these kids, because they certainly deserve it.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Really inspirational talk.
Good
My
luck,
pleasure.
Johnny.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Have a great round.